everyone, it's Max and welcome to my 2020 book haul part 2. So I will leave a link to my 2020 book haul part 1 down below, and these are in no particular order. It's just I put books in bags and I'm taking out of bags. I did decide to split this into 2 parts, even though looking back, especially when I was editing, I realized that this could have probably been 1 part, but I did just do some book shopping today, so that's okay. And I am in a different location. If you did watch that video, it was a little loud and a little annoying. So I came downstairs where there are walls and a door, and it's a lot quieter now. But without further ado, let's just get into the books that I've bought in 2020. The first book I'm gonna talk about is True Life by J. Kristoff. This is the 3rd book in the Lifelike trilogy, and it was okay. This is a Anastasia retelling, which I love, about a girl whose family invented these robotic people called lifelikes who look like humans but aren't. And they rose up and rebelled against her family, killing her family and leaving her just have one eye. I enjoyed the trilogy. I find this a lot with J. Kristoff's series. I don't like the final book as much as the other 2. And that was true with Nevernight, it was true with Illuminae, and it was true with this one. I liked it. It was just so, I feel like, different than the first 2 that I just didn't really love it. I like the first one the most, definitely, for the trilogy, but this one was just kind of a little bit of a downer. It just tried to do too much in 1 book, I felt like, because I remember I was 100 pages from the end being like, how are they gonna wrap this up? Is it actually 4 books? Did I only think it was a trilogy? But no, it's a trilogy, and wasn't a great ending. The next book I'm going to talk about is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. Barnes & Noble had a buy 1 book, get 1 book 50% off, so I definitely acted on that. And this is about a girl who goes to a boarding school that is famous because the creator's wife and child go missing, or they were found dead, one of the 2. And this was a couple hundred years ago, but now our main character is really interested in detective work as she decides to solve the mystery. I've heard amazing things about this. I don't think I've heard one person who didn't like it, so I really hope I enjoy it. The next book is the other one in the buy 1 get 1 50% off, and that is House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. All I know about this is it's a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. I don't even know what the 12 Dancing Princesses is about. I haven't heard that much about this. I know Reagan from Peruse Project read it, and I think she enjoyed it, and that's about it. I know it was an Owl Crate book, and you know, it's just a fast YA fantasy, and I think I'll enjoy it. The next book is one that I am super excited to read, and that is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. And honestly, I don't know what this is really about. I've talked about this a couple times, and I'm just like, every time I'm like, I don't know. I do know this is about a guy who finds out that he has an illegal type of magic, and that's it. It's huge. It is a huge trilogy. All the books are out, so I hope that I love this and I can just pick up the other 2 and just absolutely adore this trilogy. The next book is in a different Barnes & Noble buy 1 get 1 50% off, and that was The Kingdom of Exiles by Maxime M. Martineau. I actually really enjoyed this. This is a world where people can be beast charmers. So our main character is this woman who is able to charm these magical creatures to kind of be her pets. It feels a lot like Pokemon, and I really liked it. So she was exiled from her city, and you don't know why, but then an assassin, who's our other main character, is hired to kill her, and she makes a deal with him that he won't kill her if she's able to get 3 beasts for him and his friends. And it was a lot of fun. I really liked the world. I loved the beasts. The romantic relationship was very rushed, and I wanted more magic building and world building, but overall I did really enjoy it. Second one comes out in, I think, January, and I'm really pumped. Next book is These Divided Shores by Sarah Rosh. I read These Rebel Waves when it first came out in a fairy loot box, and I really liked it, but I never picked up the sequel. So this year I reread These Rebel Waves, and I picked this one up finally. again, enjoyed it, but not as much as the first one. So this is a series about a girl who is the daughter of this rebellion leader who kind of got freedom for their island. And we also follow a pirate and the prince of a warring kingdom. And they all kind of come together and are intertwined. And I did really like the world, I liked the magic, and I liked our characters. But this one, it just felt, it's like 500 and something pages, and it didn't feel like it had to be, because I felt like a lot of it was drawn out, but then the ending was rushed. So it just kind of was that sort of situation, but I do really like the duology overall. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Bookhaul by Hilary Mantel. I know the third one recently came out, and and at Barnes & Noble they were promoting this whole trilogy. I'm fascinated with the Tudor era, and especially Henry VIII and his 6 wives. I don't like that it's from Thomas Cromwell's point of view. I really like reading it from the women's point of view, but I haven't read anything from the guy's point of view. So I think this might add an interesting contrast to what I've read, because I do know what happens to him in the end and how that all works out. And this takes place after Anne Boleyn's beheading. So a very tumultuous time in England, and I hope I love it. I know it's kind of like a British classic, and so I hope I don't hate it. Right after I got this, I listened to the audiobook of Boyfriend Material by Alex Hall, and the main character was like, you want to know a secret? I couldn't get through Bookhaul, and I was like, yikes, but hopefully I like it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is a series, and that is the Lady Night Quartet by Tamora Pierce. I've read First Test. I read it last week and really liked it, and I am really excited to continue with this series. I read a Tamora Pierce book a month, and so this is going to last me through December, and I'm very pumped. It is about a girl who becomes the first Lady Knight after Alana, who is the first Lady Knight, and I'm really, really excited to continue on in the series. I think this shows an interesting different side of the same story that we read with Alana, because Alana was pretending to be a boy the whole time. And so you kind of see like how they actually would treat a girl under the same circumstances as Alana. And I am really enjoying the series. All right, the next book I'm going to be talking about is a book that I recently read for the Adventures Through Wonderland readathon, and that was Train to Impossible Places by P.G. Bell. This was the group book, and it's about a girl who wakes up in the middle of the night to a troll building a railway through her home, and he is part of this magical postal delivery, and he takes her on this adventure, and I really enjoyed it. I say it's a mix of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and The Polar Express, with the whimsy and sort of nonsensicalness of Alice in Wonderland, but the train and kind of like that sort of essence of Polar Express. The next book is Queen of Bolts by Amanda Foody. This was the third and final book in the Ace of Shades trilogy, and I liked it. It kind of annoyed me in a lot of aspects. I wish that it had been a duology, because I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be a duology, and then she just added a third one, and it feels that way because they end kind of where they began. Like, it didn't feel like a lot had really changed, and I think it should have just been a duology, because there is an aspect of this story that I think would have made an interesting standalone with different characters. But overall, I wasn't a huge fan of the last one, and honestly, I couldn't remember a lot of what happened in King of Fools, and so it was kind of just fell flat for me. All right, now we are fully into books that I haven't read yet, and the first one is Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. This is about a girl who's in a family of people who can do magic, but she can't, and I think she decides to barter away years of her life for magic. I don't really know anything else about it. I know Jade from JD Ray Reads didn't really like it, but other than that, I haven't really heard many other reviews or people not liking it, so I do really hope that I enjoy it. All right, the next book I'm going to talk about is Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. I never continued the trilogy, even though I read and loved the first book when it came out. I don't know why I never continued. It just, a year had passed, and I just kind of never really wanted to pick it up, but now that the whole trilogy is out and people absolutely love it, I'm like, okay, I've got to reread City of Brass, which is in the books that I want to reread video. I will leave it linked down below. And then I want to continue on in the series. I'm hoping to read one a month for the rest of the year, because there's 3 of them and there's 3 months left. which is crazy. But this is about a girl who is a con artist in ancient Egypt and then accidentally summons a djinn who takes her to this magical city. And the other point of view is the prince of that city. I absolutely adored the first one and I'm really excited to continue. The next book I'm going to talk about is Sword in the Stars by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. Honestly, I did not really enjoy Once and Future. It was okay, but I didn't love it, especially one aspect really drove me insane. But I do want to finish it and see what happens. So I did pick up the sequel and I don't know, I don't have the highest hopes for it, but I do hope I enjoy it, at least somewhat. This is an Arthurian legend retelling where Arthur is reincarnated as a girl. And so for another Sarah Rash book, I'm going with Set Fire to the Gods by Sarah Rash and Kristen Simmons. This I just got today. The rest of the books I just got today. But this is kind of a Roman-esque story with gladiators, and I know our main character is a gladiator, and she does something that sets off this war between the gods and he's in there somehow. I can't remember. I didn't look too closely at the synopsis, but I really enjoy this cover and I really enjoy Sarah Rash, so I'm hoping that I really like this. The next book that I got is one that I hadn't heard of before, but I'm really intrigued, and that is Spine of the Dragon by Kevin J. Anderson. And this is about kind of this world where gods made these creatures as well as these humans to be those creatures' servants to kill a dragon. And now it's like millennia after that event and it's all just a myth to humans until these creatures come back and want them as servants again. I haven't heard anything about this, honestly, at all. It is blurbed by Terry Goodkind and Sherilyn Kenyon, both of whom I've read books from before, and I just really hope I like this. It's a big floppy paperback. We all love it. And this does just kind of remind me of Ruin of Kings and my experience with Ruin of Kings, where I had never heard of it before. I saw this nice glossy floppy paperback and I was just hooked, and this had dragon in the title, that had a dragon on the cover. And so I'm really hoping that I love this as much as Ruin of Kings, which would be hard, but I'm hoping I do. Okay, on a little bit of a theme here, I got the Dragon Bone Chair, another book I don't know, but another book that's nice and floppy and shiny. I don't remember what it's about. I think it's like this king is trying to take back his kingdom and some kitchen boy is sent on some sort of quest. I don't remember. I was intrigued and I do like the title. The cover is a little stereotypical, but it is blurbed by Patrick Rothfuss and George R.R. Martin, two legends in the fantasy genre, and I do hope again that I really like it. This was a day of risks, shall we say, where I didn't know either of those two books at all, but I was intrigued. The next book is a book that I was so excited to find because I had never seen it at a bookstore, but I'd been wanting it, and that's Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This was a book that Pierre Ford absolutely loved, and we have very similar tastes in fantasy, so I do really want to pick it up. I hear it's kind of like D&D, like each character symbolizes like a character type that you can have, like a rogue, a paladin, a cleric, like all that stuff. I'm so excited. I know there isn't a bard and there's a reason why. And honestly, I don't know what it's about. Like the tagline is "The boys are back in town," which is kind of cringy, but I hear it's amazing and I am just super excited to pick it up. There's only one copy left and it's a little damaged, which kind of sucks, but like I wanted it, so I got it. All right, and then the last book I have for you all today is The Library of the Unwritten by AJ Hackwith. I have heard a lot of things about this and I've heard people have been loving it. All I know is that it is about a girl who is the leader of this is a librarian at this library in hell, and then the main character of a book escapes to find the author. I love that. It's reminiscent of The Starless Sea. It's reminiscent of The City of Dreaming books, both books that I really enjoyed, and I am pumped. I have just seen this kind of everywhere recently. I think the sequel has come out or it's coming out, and I'm just really pumped and I really want to read this and I'm very excited. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!